Welcome to the Purity After Promiscuity podcast, where we are redefining a woman's worth. I am your host, Jenna Renee, and hey girl, hey, how you doing? What's up? I'm so glad to be here with you guys. It's Friday. It's a little later than our anticipated time, but we're here, we're in the building, and I got something good today. I hope you guys are ready for today's episode because I think it's so relevant, but I think it's something that we need to really hear. Like, it's so practical, and I think that as we are in this dispensation of time and in this culture and in 2024 and we in these dating streets, y'all, we need to have these conversations, right? And so we are setting the captives free in season 6, and even as we're setting the captives free, we need to also learn how to be free in relationships. How do we be free relationally, right? How does that, how do we in a healthy way maintain relationships? So I'm here for it. I'm here to talk about some things that I just came into revelation this week, even in my own experience. I'm gonna give y'all some tea. Your girl had a little meet and greet with a man, okay? I'm gonna give y'all the tea and so much more. So guys, we're gonna go ahead with the countdown and then we will start today's episode.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Like I said, hey girl, hey, how you guys doing out there? For all my new listeners, welcome to the Purity After Promiscuity podcast. This is a community where we are redefining a woman's worth. We're walking in our true worth. We're discovering our purpose. We're getting healed, becoming whole. We're working through just false labels and identities and things that we have allowed to come upon us, even though that's not who God says we are. So we are totally being anchored and unapologetic about who God says we are. We bold and we confident in who we are, and we're walking fully in our purpose. So if that sounds like something you are interested in, or that sounds like you, stick around, get comfortable, hit the subscribe, hit the like, hit the follow. Also, share with your community, share with your girls, share with your friends, right? Share with people who may need to hear this message and how God is moving through this podcast, okay? And so to all my OGs, my loyal listeners out there who've been rocking with us from the one time for the one time, what's up, girl? How you doing? Hey, girl, hey. You in the building, and I appreciate you. I see you. You mean so much to me. All of you guys mean so much to me. I appreciate each and every download, all the support, all the streaming. I see it. I see the podcast growing. I'm seeing it's touching, it's impacting more people. I want to say hey to my people over there across the country. I'll be having people in Ghana. I'll be having people in Brazil. I'll be having people over there in different parts of the country. I just want you guys to know I see you. I thank you. Thank you for the support. Keep tuning in. That's the best way that you can partner with this podcast, is to share so we can get right in front of more people, so more people can be blessed on through each episode, as we are really coming here to bring transformation, right? We're here to truly be about our Father's business, but we're here really walking in just the original design that God had for us as women. And so, again, if that's you, stick with us, and I would love to hear from you. So leave a review if you can. If you're listening from a platform where you can leave a review, leave a comment, connect with me. I always put my email in the description box. You can reach out to me via email if you would like a prayer request. If you just want to connect, let me know how the podcast is blessing you. I would love to hear from you. So thank you. And so, yes, let me tell y'all. Okay, y'all ready? The tea, honey, the tea. Because I'm jumping out here. Because I've been talking about it long enough. I've been talking about it with, my friends and my close friends, and I have a couple single friends, one in particular that we're both in a similar season. We're both really desiring marriage and wanting to date and wanting to embark on that journey. And so it's like, as believers, as Christian, as women, as people, right, when we are desiring something, especially for those of us that are believers, it's like we can't just sit around hoping, dreaming, wishing, praying, right? Nothing's wrong with believing, nothing wrong with praying, but at some point, in wisdom, right, and Holy Spirit led, or sometimes we just have to make decisions. we got to do something practically. And if you're believing to be dating, and if you're like myself and you know that you may not frequent a lot of places, you're not on the social scene that much, you got to be realistic and say to yourself, well, how do I position myself for what I'm believing for, right? And so I'm gonna be honest, I've been the type of person who was totally against online dating for years. I've never done it. Was never really interested. I've toyed with the idea. I would say stuff here and there, like, I'm gonna just give me an online profile, but I would just be joking because not because I had any like really negative experiences or thoughts behind it. It was just something that just seemed so unconventional, right? It just seemed so like untraditional. And for me, I was so used to just meeting people, you be out and about, you go places and you meet someone in the physical, that the idea of just kind of going on there and creating a profile, hoping and wishing that the person is honestly who they say they are, or that they're not out here trying to have some other kind of negative motive, that just seemed like something I just didn't want to embark on. And I've heard both sides of the spectrum. I've heard people who did online dating or connected via social media, which is still online, and it worked, and they're married or getting married, and it's really working for them. And then I've heard the flip side where it's been like trash. It's been a horrible experience. It was just terrible. And so it's just trying to navigate, with just these different thoughts in my mind around something that I'm already uncomfortable with. I just kind of had the position like, I'm not going to do it. Well, how many of you know that, listen, sometimes your situation or circumstances just make you have to reconsider. So I had to reconsider because I'm like, all right, listen, sis, like, you want to date. You want to get out there in the dating scene, right? First of all, to give y'all some context, your girl ain't been on the dating scene in like 5 years, okay? A little over 5 years. With the exception of, I did meet someone. How did I even meet him? Oh, I think he hopped in my inbox on social media, to be honest. But I think back in 2022, I did meet someone, and he was great. He's a cool guy. I mean, he's amazing. We did go out on dates. We hung out. We found out we had people that we knew very well and was close and like family with in common. And so they were really rooting for us. They wanted us to get together. They felt I would be really good for him. But we just had different, our belief systems was different, and our lifestyles were different, and it was so different that it became something that caused us to decide that it wouldn't work for us romantically. But we did remain friends, and we still would go out to lunch and just hang out and check on each other from time to time. And I think I found out the other month that he's preparing to get married, and I'm so happy for him because he's a good guy. He's a great guy. So, I mean, we didn't date for real, for real. It wasn't like it never got to that place where it was like seriously dating, because it came out early on that I'm abstinent, and he was honest to say that he couldn't deal with that, and that was okay. And so that was like the only experience I've had in over 5 years. So needless to say, your girl is a little rusty, okay? And I'm just like, I certainly don't know about online dating. Like, I can navigate a little bit more, I guess, authentically and confidently, just organic meeting someone. Like, okay, I'm somewhere and somebody approached me. But the thought of something that I've never done before was just kind of like so intimidating. But at the end of the day, like, what I'm gonna do? I don't go really that much places. I only go to church, and unfortunately the church I attend right now is, not a lot of, single men. And so that's like the main place I frequent. I go to work, which again, I'm a hairstylist. No men coming in there, not really. So again, being a realistic. And so that's something I want to say to my sisters. It's like, sis, y'all, we got to be honest about our situations. We got to be honest where we are. We got to look at our lives and our lifestyle and ask real questions. Like, am I positioning myself for what I'm believing for? Like, what am I doing that is even showing God that I am available, that I'm ready for this, right? And so, I had to be honest. And I'm like, well, at the end of the day, I know people, I had my close friend, she decided to get out there. She's been on, doing online dating for some time. Not, I don't know how consistent, but she's kind of like, you know, it wasn't new to her. So that was something that, she had been doing. But for me, I had to really make a resolve in myself. Like, either I'm gonna take the risk or I'm not, because I can't keep saying and telling God I'm ready to date and I want to date and I'm tired of being single, but I'm not even willing to take a risk, because that's what faith is. It's the risk. It's the substance of things hoped for, right? I'm hoping to be getting in a position where I can date and court and get a serious long-term relationship that leads into marriage, right? But what am I doing today that is going to get me closer to what it is that I desire, right? And so in these dating streets, y'all, let me tell you something. Before you get into these dating streets, you got to answer some real questions for yourself. Number one, right? You need to ask yourself, what are your non-negotiables? Okay? And stick to it. Because when you have been single for a long time, it's so easy to get super excited and to just feel like, okay, I can compromise a little here and there. No. You got to keep in mind about what your convictions are, what your goals are, what your wants are. And you just got to be patient, right? Because it may not be the first person who approach you or who reach out to you or jump in your DMs or send you a message or put a heart on your profile. You might have to be patient and wait until that one comes along, because you just don't want to get into a place where it can end in heartache and heartbreak or end in disaster. And I'm speaking from experience. So knowing your non-negotiables is so important. Like, what are you not willing to compromise on? Like, we have preferences and non-negotiables. Be clear on what's just a preference. Like, if I say something like, I need him to be 6'5", that's a preference. Because if he has everything else that I really know I need and desire in a man, and he's 5'11", like, why would I pass up on somebody for something that's not really that important, right? So just being able to identify your preferences versus your non-negotiables, right? Always have your non-negotiables in the forefront of your mind, and always have your end goal in the forefront of your mind. Because again, that helps you be clear. That helps you to keep up healthy boundaries, and it also helps you to not entertain things that don't align, right? So if you know you want to be married and you come across a guy and he doesn't want to be married, or he's just looking for friendship, like, listen to that. Take heed. As women, a lot of times we think we can change a man, or we want to change him. Just listen. Like, if he says he don't want to be in a relationship, he just want a friendship, he just want to have fun, listen to him. And no matter how fine he is, sis, you're going to have to pass up on him unless that's something you want. And so having an honest conversation with yourself, number one. Being very clear, right? And then number two, I would say, as I'm navigating these dating streets, that I found that was very interesting and that I want to make sure that I'm very clear on, is my boundaries. My boundaries in dating is, because I do live a lifestyle of abstinence, it's very important that I keep very clear boundaries, because I don't want to put myself or the other person in a compromising position, or a position where we can fall. It's so easy. Like, we think we're stronger than we are a lot of the times, but that flesh will rise up. And especially if we haven't been in that type of position where we've been faced with that particular temptation, like, you don't want to take a chance. So for me, we can't never be alone. Like, I mean, that's just me. I'm just being honest. I don't trust my flesh like that. So we always got a public date. We always got to go on, dates with other people or in public places, right? It's just not wise for me to go to no man's house, especially, in the evening, talking about he want to cook dinner, or, we're going to go chill, watch movies, none of that. No. Not because I don't like you, not because I'm being, trying to play hard to get, or, I'm being too stuck up, or whatever the case may be. It's simply because I want to protect my purity, right? I want to protect my vow, my promise, that I made to myself and to God. So being very clear, like, my boundaries. We're not doing a lot of physical touching. Like, there's no need for all that, because again, those are things that they lead they can lead to something else real quick, right? So we not doing all that, you doing all that rubbing and touching and caressing and groping. Like, no. No, no, sir. I need you to respect me, respect my space, respect my body. And I'm going to have to do the same for you. Because, again, it's all about making sure that I keep the goal, the end goal, in the forefront of my mind, which is I want to, remain abstinent until I get married. So understanding that we have to know these things and have these things ironed out and anchored before we date. And also, I'm partial with the kissing thing because I feel like I don't like if we get into a place where we're getting a little more serious and okay, I don't mind a kiss. And when I say kiss, like go okay, like a little peck on the lips or something. But what we're not gonna do, sir, we ain't doing that hot, heavy tongue down your throat, kissing, all that erotic, hot, passionate kissing. No, because again, that could easily lead to something else. So just being mindful of yourself. Know thyself. Know what you can handle, like, and be honest with yourself and be honest with that person. And if there's somebody who is really for you, they're going to respect and honor your boundaries as well, right? So those are that's some little keys that I figured that I wanted to share with you guys as I'm navigating these dating streets and just kind of things that have come up for me. But y'all, I'm out here. I got on that dating profile and I got some hits, some guys that I was like, okay, there's a little interest there. I liked what I saw. I liked their profiles, so I clicked the little hearts on a couple people. And of course there was some people that, liked on your girl's profile, and I had a few matches. And so, had a guy in my area reach out. We made a little small talk conversation via messages, and then we decided to do a meet and greet. And I was super nervous, guys. I almost literally just dropped the whole ball, literally. I got so nervous, as he was, asking for us to do a meet and greet. And I was already nervous even just communicating because I haven't talked to a male in that way in so long. I felt awkward. I felt nervous. It was just I don't know. And I'm glad I didn't sabotage it, because that's another thing. Just be aware of just pure nervousness, because that's not unusual, but also your triggers, right? And a trigger is something that is going to trigger a negative response, right? It's going to trigger you to respond to it in a very negative and emotional way, or it's going to bring very negative feelings, or it's going to cause you to revert to a negative behavior. And so sometimes we can get triggered and we can go into a self-sabotaging behavior. So be very, very mindful of yourself and be honest and be patient and gracious with yourself. Don't try to do too much too soon. If you feel overwhelmed, step back, take a break. If you feel overstimulated, okay, take a break. It's okay, because you want to have a good experience, right? You don't want to bring all of this, heavy, negative, anxious energy, into meeting someone, right? Because a lot of times they can pick up on that. And so you just want to be in a place of peace and rest. And so for me, I just kind of had to, allow the anxiety to just calm down and, be okay and be at peace. And I was able to navigate, the conversation, and we decided to meet up, and we did. And honestly, guys, I am super happy I did. I mean, it was a very, very, very good encounter, really. For it to be my very, very first time trying online dating, for it to be my very first time meeting someone online and just taking the risk, I just took a risk, y'all. And again, be wise. Don't just be out here getting on online profiles and the online dating apps and different things, and meet somebody and just going out with people or meeting them and without really exercising some level of discernment, right? And or seeking the Lord, or paying attention to any kind of red flags that may be there. Because again, this is something that you really want to practice a lot of caution, because we know that everybody on these things are not with good intentions and not good people. And so you want to be very mindful if you are going to try to do online dating, whether it's via social media or any of these online dating apps. Just be very wise, because we've seen stories over the years and over the months where someone went and met up with someone they met online, and it ended tragically. So we want to be safe. And so making sure if you are meeting someone for the first time, make sure it's like daytime, making sure you drive yourself or you get an Uber, like you're not, riding with them. Make sure, you're meeting at a public place. You make sure you communicate with your support, your community, your family, your friends, and you let them know where you're going. You give them that person's name and information, a picture, or you share your location. Like, just use caution, use wisdom, right? Because again, your life is important. You are important, and you don't want to get into a situation where it could be dangerous. Okay. And so we just had a good time. Like, it was good. Like, he looked like his picture, he was just a super cool, chill, laid back guy, and just his demeanor just helped me to be even more relaxed because I was very nervous. And he had great conversation, it was a really, really, really good first meet and greet. And we sat and we talked for a few hours, and it didn't even feel like it. That's how you know it was good, because I didn't realize we had been talking for like 2 hours. And it was just a good time, and I was just so happy that I took the risk. And it was like I think I could, do this, and I definitely am open to seeing him again. So we'll see. I keep you guys updated kind of a little bit here and there, as much as I feel led to share how it goes. But one thing that did come up, not necessarily in the conversation with him and I, but when I got home after our meet and greet, and I got on social media, and it was a reel that came up. And this reel was a young lady who was speaking about the difference between your assignment and a romantic relationship. And what that literally like just stuck, really, like it just really like hit me. And I was like, oh, okay. So I listened to what she said, and she made a good point. And I feel like this is something that we as women, especially those of us that are single, we're in a dating season, we want to date, we desire marriage, we really, 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 really need to ask God to give us discernment and clarity and understanding on the difference between someone who may be of the opposite sex and they may be an assignment. Okay, what do I mean? Sometimes we are assigned to intercede for people. Sometimes we are assigned to be like a conduit for God, to minister to get the attention of a particular person. And in that, we will sometimes, there may be some kind of connection with you and that person, especially if they're of the opposite sex. There may be a connection. You may start having these dreams and visions and this deep burden or this deep care for them, right? And so you think that means that they're your spouse. But what that could mean is like that you are what I've heard is called a prophetic intercessor. And what the prophetic is, it is just you being able to see, is you being able to hear, is you being able to sense. And so sometimes with our sensory prophetic gifts, like, our feelings, our emotions, being able to feel people's burdens, being able to feel, a deep, connection or care for a person, it can be oftentimes misconstrued as, oh, this is a divine connection because this is my spouse. And the reality is, I don't know what I can say as far as how God navigates, bringing people of the opposite sex into our lives, and what's the ratio, or what's the average on how many of those people are covenant that are assignments versus romantic relationships. And I don't believe that every single woman may encounter a man that they have a certain kind of connection with that is an assignment. I do think it happens But again, you just gotta know you gotta know how God speaks to you, and you got to be very sensitive to the leading of Holy Spirit. But it is a thing, and because a lot of us women are the ones who are saved, we are the ones who are in the church, we are the ones who have a relationship with God, we are the ones who are praying and fasting and interceding, we are the ones who are standing in the gap, right? We are the ones who are being lights here in this dark world, that oftentimes God will use us. And because men, a lot of men, they will connect with a woman, even if their intention in their mind is romance. A lot of times God will use what's naturally there to for his glory, and so I do think we are in a season where God is raising up women, because we're available, because we've been processed, because we've been pruned, because we are, God knows that he can trust us, and, we are ready to go out and to, get the harvest. And a lot of the harvest is our men. Especially in the culture and the community of color, our men are out here. A lot of them are lost. A lot of them, are confused. A lot of them are, under some strong delusion, or they're being vexed and bewildered by these different seducing spirits and these other things, that God is going to use us women to be able to be laborers for the harvest, right? To help bring them back in. And you got to know, as a woman, you got to be very clear in your identity and the assignment and the plan of God for your life, to know that yes, God is going to use you, and he may bring men in your life, but that doesn't mean that every man, or that the man is your husband. So it's so important to seek God. Like when you meet someone and you go out, you have a meet and greet, or you go on a date, and you feel a connection, and you feel an attraction, and you feel you like them, and then it's like all of these things. You got to surrender that to God. You got to pray and say, Lord, what are these feelings? What's the origin? What's the purpose? Why is this person here? Should they be here? What is your willingness, right? Is this person an assignment? Is this person, a romantic interest? Is this person someone I should even be speaking to? Because everything ain't about a relationship, right? And so we have to be willing to go to the Lord and seek wisdom, and even your wise counsel, like those who speak in your life, those you trust, your elders, your pastors, your spiritual parents, your accountability, like someone that is trusted, that you can go to and speak to and say, hey, can you pray with me? Can you pray for me? I've met this person, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm in alignment with what God is doing, and I want to know who they are to me. And ask someone, right? Because sometimes if our feelings and emotions are activated, it's difficult to hear clearly from God. And so understanding that you might encounter a man, and he might be fine, okay? He might have all of these great qualities. He may be somebody that you can see yourself dating. But just make sure before you even move any further, that you step back and you go to God, and you take time to seek him on how to navigate and move forward with this individual. Because the thing that I find that we do often as women is we take an assignment and we try to turn it into romance, right? And we end up getting into a romantic relationship with someone that we were just supposed to intercede for, with someone we was just supposed to encourage, with someone that we were just supposed to support or pray for. And then now we get in there and we complicate what God it was trying to do, and then we end up getting in a situation where 9 times out of 10 it doesn't work out, because they were never meant to be your romantic partner. And then everything that could have happened, that would have been for their benefit and for what God wanted to do in their life, now is going to be postponed, or going to be derailed, or whatever, or going to be damaged, because we entered into something because we were totally led by our emotions, and we didn't use wisdom, and we didn't seek God, and we didn't listen to him. Because sometimes I think we hear God, he speak, but we don't listen, because it's not what we want to hear, because we want what we want, right? Sometimes you want the guy to be the one, you want him to be the man, you want him to be your spouse. And so sometimes it's just hard to quiet your soul and your desires so you can hear the voice of God. But in this season, since I just feel it so strong in the spirit, it's so important to understand that because the us women have just really consistently shown up and been available. Not to say that my brothers, y'all not there, that y'all ain't showing up. We know that we have our brothers in the kingdom, but we know there are so many more brothers who are not, and they need to be. And so it's probable that you may meet a guy or come across a guy, or a guy may show interest in you, and it may be purely about God's agenda, right? Or it may be just about a friendship. Because for me, I think it's important to have male friends. I think you gotta, again, I feel like you gotta be very clear. You gotta use wisdom. It gotta truly be platonic and for both people, right? Like, it can't be we're friends but we secretly like each other, secretly crushing on each other, we secretly want each other, but we're gonna say we friends. Like, because that's such a gray area, that's such a sticky situation. And I've been in those situations years and years and years ago, and I'm here to tell you it don't end well. Someone always end up getting hurt, and then a relationship, a great friendship, always gets ruined. So just use wisdom. But I do think it's important to have a male perspective. I think it's important to have a balance, in your friendships. And so I don't think it's anything wrong with men and women being just friends, platonic friends. I think it's very possible. But I think, again, we have to be able to discern these things in the onset, so we don't, get into a position where we're trying to put a relationship in a place it shouldn't be. And just be aware, like, when he's your husband, I feel like you're gonna know for sure, because God is going to confirm it to you and to him. I don't believe God is going to just tell one person. I believe both people at some point are going to have the same revelation, because God is one faith, one spirit, one baptism. He's not a God of confusion, so he's not going to tell one thing and tell another thing. So just being very patient and letting God reveal things to you, allow God to confirm them to you and then to the other person, right? And just, again, continually be seeking God, seek him for who he is, seek him, surrender your desires, surrender your wants, surrender your thoughts, surrender your emotions to God. Surrender it all to him. Invite him in. Allow him to lead you in these, as you're navigating dating, as you're navigating trying to figure out who is this person, and how am I supposed to continue forward, or if I'm supposed to. Because sometimes it's just a no. Like, they may have checked all the boxes, and you might think that this is the perfect guy for you, and God still says no. So being able to hear God, being able to listen, being able to receive if it's a no, and trust God. Trust that he knows better, that his ways are higher, that that he sees all things. Like, there are things that he sees and he knows that we don't know and see. And so we have to trust him, that if he says no, it's for a reason. It's not to withhold anything good from you, but it's simply because it's not the thing for you, or he has something better or different. And having to, be at a place where we can be content in that, and not allow ourselves to be led by desperation, to think we gotta just jump on the first thing that we see, or jump just head in, feet first or whatever. Like, we have to move with caution, and we have to pace ourselves, and so we can continually hear God step by step, right? So, y'all, these are like little tips, little nuggets that I picked up as I'm in these dating streets, y'all. I'm out here, I'm in these dating streets. Let me know if you in these dating streets, and also let me know your experience, and what are you doing? Are you online dating? Are you via social media? Are you still old school and want to just meet somebody organically while you out and about? Like, let me know how what you're doing and how it's working for you, and let me know, like, anything that I said today resonates with you, or you feel like it helps you in any way as you're navigating relationships and dating, because it's important, and we got to know, like, God is not withholding good things from us. The Bible says he withholds no good thing from the upright and the righteous. So if you're still single, it's some reason why, right? And that's something you have to go to God about. If it's not your season yet of dating, you have to just be okay with being a single season, because single season has a purpose. Every season has a purpose. And so that's why it's a time and season for everything under the sun. Single season has so many great advantages, right? Like you get to really evolve in your relationship with God, and really get to a place where you truly have that intimacy with God, and you have that experience with God, and you're to a place with God where like y'all one, and it's like that's what it is. You also get a chance to figure out who you are. You get to figure out your purpose. You get to work on your healing, your inner healing. You can become whole, you can become healed, right? You get to travel. You get to do things without having to answer to someone or consider someone else, right? You get to determine how you spend your time, right? You get to hang out with your girls. You get to do a lot of things that you may have to not stop altogether, but you may have to transition how you do some of those things once you are in a marriage. So singleness has its advantages, right? Of course, it's not long lasting, in the sense that at some point you're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to date. But just enjoying your single season and becoming single and satisfied, like, that's the greatest thing you can do, is really get to a place where you're like, what, Lord, yes, I desire marriage. I do want to experience that. I want to experience being in love. I want to experience having someone that I can become one with. But if I don't, I'm okay. Like, you're enough. I'm still satisfied in you. Then I feel like that is a great place to be. So now you're not so thirsty, so hungry, so desperate. And everything is not about marriage, relationship. It's about, okay, Lord, what should I be doing in this season? What should I be building? What should I creating? Like, how should I be utilizing my singleness, my time, my talents, my gifts, right? And just surrendering that to God, and just really loving on God, and just learning more about him, and going deeper, and getting, more intimate, and, being able to fall in love with God, really. A lot of that really can only take place in your single season, because you have a lot more time to devote to just loving on God and pouring out to God, and really just being in his presence, and you don't have to really share your time between God and the spouse. And not to say that that's something that is not desirable, but it is something that you don't recognize how much of a blessing it was until you don't have that no more. And so I would say, just making sure you as a woman, you're whole, and you're not looking for a relationship or a man to complete you, to fulfill you, to validate you, to help you with your self-esteem and your insecurities, because that's not going to work. And most men are very turned off by a woman who is not confident, who's not secure. They can pick up on it. And so you just want to make sure that you are becoming your best self for you, your family, your friends, the people you're called to, your coworkers, your job, your employer, whatever, the people in your community, whether you're single or not. And so, just making sure when you do enter into your dating season, that you have gotten to a place of contentment in God. You know who you are. You're anchored in your identity. Your purpose. Your calling, because that's what helps you to, keep the focus. Because sometimes people get in relationships and they get lost in the relationship, and they begin to lose a sense of their identity, right? They begin to lose sense of self and become completely engulfed in this person or this relationship. And then next thing you know, they're beginning to put down things that they were supposed to do for the Lord. They begin to put certain things on the back burner, and it becomes this thing where this person, this relationship, becomes an idol. And so you just want to be very careful as you are transitioning from being in the single season to the dating season, that your heart is right, that your heart is right, that your convictions, that your non-negotiables, that exactly what you want and what you don't want, that you have healthy boundaries, strong boundaries, right, that you're healed, that you're whole, that you truly have gotten to a place where you're single and content, you're single and satisfied, right? That you really, know who you are, your identity, your purpose, your calling, and that you have made a commitment, you have made your calling and election sure, and that you're not going to allow anything to deviate you from your commitment to fulfill the mandate that God has on your life, because your purpose partner, your spouse, is supposed to be someone that helps you. They come along and help you to fulfill what God has called you to do, not take you away from it. So just, again, keeping those things in mind while we out here in these dating streets. Okay, we out here. I'm out here, y'all. And I don't know, we're gonna see. I don't know. It's new to me, so it's exciting, and it's exciting, but it's nerve-wracking at the same time. I don't know. But I'm gonna enjoy every moment and see what God does. And I mean, at the end of the day, we do have a role to play in this faith walk with God. Like, He doesn't do everything. We have to show up, right? And we have to take a step. And that may look different for everyone. However, you just have to be willing to at least take a step if you want to see a move of God. So I hope this blessed you guys. Let me know. Hit me up. But yeah, like, I'm just going to leave it here as we in these dating streets. Just, again, be cautious. Be safe. Use precautions. If you are doing online dating or, connecting with people via social media, again, your safety is the utmost important. So please use wisdom and precautions. Please let people know where you're going, where you're headed. Don't meet people at night in secluded places, in places that is not public. Make sure you can give as much information to the people you love as possible. Make sure, you just do what you need to do to ensure your safety. And then have a good time, y'all. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the moment. Don't overthink it. And don't self-sabotage, sis. Whatever you do, even if you feel yourself being triggered, like, that's a moment to step back, to pray. That's a moment to be honest, to confess it to the Lord, or call your accountability partner, ask them to pray with you, to cast down that anxiety or that fear or whatever it is. Like, that's the moment to, respond in the moment in a healthy way. Because sometimes when we are in unfamiliar places and spaces, we tend to revert to old behaviors. And so just be mindful, be cognizant of where you are, and be gracious. Be gracious with yourself and be at peace. So I just hope this blessed you, and just know that your past does not define you. It develops you, and you are worthy.